Hi everybody and welcome to another Mullins Studios Podcast. I'm with my brother BlackCross and
hello everyone.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but of course the most important question of all time, no matter who says otherwise, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good actually.
Okay, that's good. I'm feeling great. Then again, last night I watched Coco, which I loved Coco. That was such a good movie.
Need to watch that, but also too, Up. Those are like the two main Pixar movies, with the exception of like maybe Cars 3 from the way it sounds from me.
I like Cars 3. That was really good.
Yeah, I've been behind on a lot of movies, so...
I've been too, but then again, with movies, I've been changing a lot lately. I used to know about movies a lot. I used to be a
you
film.
used to be ahead of the time.
Yeah, but lately I just been getting zoned. It's not like the films coming out aren't bad. No, it's just they're not like really engaging me. Heck, when was the last time that we went to movie theaters?
Last year. And I can't even remember what the movie was that we went to see.
I remember we watched Lego Batman, Captain Underpants. Was the new Pirates of the Caribbean out last year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that was...
Those were like the last movies we saw. I think the last Marvel movie we saw in theaters was... what?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, yeah. And
that was back in 2015.
That was 3 years ago. Daggone.
Yeah, we got to see what Chandler did. Yay!
Yeah, that was fun.
That cinema was beautiful, though.
I love that movie cinema. I wish we had that same one here.
Granted, it was in a mall, but
yeah,
mall cinema is always good.
Despite the fact that it was in a mall, it was ginormous. There was plenty of room for your legs. You could just stretch and just... our movie theaters, you had to be careful because you might accidentally hit someone's head.
Oh, that reminds me of this story, and you remember it because this was back when Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest was coming out. And Chris was with your...
girlfriend
at the time. And me and Mom wanted to go see it. It's like, okay, we'll both see it. Unfortunately, we arrived in late. Not late as in the film was starting up, but...
everyone else had their seats.
Yeah, it was extremely packed. This was probably like the most packed I've seen in the theater. And there was only 2 seats left. And they were in the bottom. I don't mean like the semi-bottom. I mean the way bottom. So literally, me and our mom literally had to sit down looking like this at the movie screen. And
keep in mind, Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest was over 2 hours. So you think about it. Having your
2.5 hours.
Well, I said over 2 hours. But yeah, 2.5. You think about it. Having your neck like that for that long of a period of time.
It
when
really
you start
hurt
to move.
And the thing that probably explains why my neck kind of hurts a bit. Not as much, but you kind of have like a little tendency a little bit.
At least that was one of the reasons.
Yeah, that was like probably the worst experience ever. I always had a great experience at theaters. Never had like a bad problem. Though there was one time where I was one to walk out of the theater. And that was during the last Airbender movie because it was just...
terrible.
It was... I mean, if someone likes it, that's good. It's just... it was not the cartoon series. Then again, if it was, it would have been 3 hours long at most to do the whole first book of Avatar.
Yeah. The problem is that you have what the TV series did and how they integrated it. Then you bring the movie, and the movie is basically a spit at the face to the original TV series.
I understand that.
Literally a spit in the face.
I understand when you have to adapt something for like even movies or books or video games, you gotta have to change it up a bit. You can't keep everything. You might have room to add some more detail that they couldn't do in the past media, but when you're transferring to another, you always have to give and take what will work and what doesn't to make it flow narratively for a book to keep the reader invested, or the game to make the story flow with the gameplay. I'm not an expert at it, so don't ask me what works and what doesn't. But it was just explanation, little characters. Why they mispronounced Aang's name in the movie is Aang, not Aang. You gotta have it instead of the There's a difference.
That facial expression, I love it. It's Aang, not Aang.
I'm glad I made you laugh with that.
Oh gosh, but yeah, the whole movie itself was just a spitting in the face of the fan base itself. I mean, I haven't seen the rest. I did see the final part, which was interesting. But I want to watch the whole series again because
Didn't we have like a whole set of the series at Walmart for cheap?
We do. Technically, we do. I do believe.
Why have we not grabbed that yet? I don't know.
Same reason why I haven't grabbed Scooby-Doo Where Are You? Complete series.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the whole movie thing. It's like, not that the movies that are coming out aren't bad, they're just not engaging me. I mean, heck, I know last podcast we did the whole Marvel Star Wars thing, which I know people are probably upset about, but I'm still burnt out because I'm just not excited. And there's not a whole lot of new movies, though we were planning on going to see Murder on the Orient Express. That one yet did good.
But we just hadn't had the chance.
Well, when did that movie came out? December or?
It came out December, early January. It came out winter anyway.
If it came out during October, then we were busy moving and stuff, so that would have been impossible.
But it wasn't that case. We were already moved in at the time. And honestly, I still want to see Deadpool 2, but at this point, I don't know if we'll be able to or not. It's just, we're just so busy and engaging of wanting to make videos and stuff. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be engaging and making videos and stuff.
But then again, as we get older, time goes quicker, and there's not enough time to go see every movie now. I mean, people all the time say, you should play this game and such. It's like, I just don't have the time. If I'm not hugely invested, and I want to use my time otherwise, it just... Yeah, but there has been good movies coming out this year. It's just I haven't really got to them. Plus, theaters are so expensive now.
Yeah, I don't think it's not so much being expensive either. It's just the crowd itself. You gotta be careful of when you go.
Yeah, if you go later the first week, you have so much people around you. But if you wait till late or too late, then the movie will be plucked down theaters.
Yeah. And you have to be on time of things. It's like if you don't get within the 3-week period, then after that, you might as well guarantee that it won't be there afterwards.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I did get Netflix. It doesn't have every single movie. Wish it did. That would be pretty amazing.
That would be nice if it did.
I forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, Netflix. But I'm at least able to catch the movies, and if I like it, I don't have to worry about having to go rent it from Redbox or having to pay it online or something. I can watch it while paying a monthly subscription to keep watch with other shows.
Right.
But yeah, and I've been trying to catch it with movies, just the movies I want to see.
Right.
I know with Netflix I was able to watch The Truman Show, which I really loved that one. That was really good. The Founder, I enjoyed that, even though the guy, or Michael Keaton, the way that he yucked it in The Founder, yucked exactly like our dad. It was freaky.
I still need to watch that.
It's actually good. I liked it.
It was one of the movies that I saw and I was like, this looks like it'd be interesting.
But he yucked it like Dad, and it
was scary.
It messed me up. It's like, Dad? Is that you? Why are you doing all the way? And oh crap, where did the film take place in? Why are you there talking with McDonald's people?
Yeah, I think what I need to do, I need to grab an image of our dad, which is going to be harder than you think.
I got pictures.
Oh, really? You do? That's surprising. I mean, his current pictures.
Oh, no, I don't. But he hasn't changed that much. But
with the exception of that he doesn't have a goatee.
I got one where he doesn't have a goatee.
Okay, that works then. Yeah. But yeah, that and then the main character...
Yeah, you can't just take the poster. You have to find like a screenshot of the movie or something.
Yeah, because only then would you actually get to see that.
It's... well, I know some people may not see it, but I definitely see it, and it freaks me out.
Yeah, you showed me that one time, and I was like...
It was.
Dad, I think we found your duplicate.
And then, of course, I saw Coco, and Coco, it was so fun. I loved Up. Up used to be my favorite Pixar movie, and it still is. But Coco, it was just a great movie. It has great heart. It was visually gorgeous. We have a similar movie that we love watching called The Book of Life. Has the same kind of premise with the whole taking place during during the Day of the Dead and everything. But Coco, I like both movies, but Coco just has a huge heart in it. has think a bit more creativity in it, I personally think. And I love Book of Life.
Plus, the animation... Well, for the record, the animation in Book of Life was basically of wooden figures, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
but this one looked a lot more... What's the phrase that they use?
More kind of... I wouldn't say realistic, no.
No, it's not real. What's the term that people use for, like, Hotel Transylvania?
Rubbery?
Stretchy, I guess? I don't know. It was more cartoony.
Yeah, well... Actually, this is something I'm starting to realize more and more with cartoons being released now. Is that there's more and more cartoons being out that are being so fast-paced. Like, they never stop to take a break. They're always fast-paced with the jokes, the delivery, the animation, which I love quick animation because it makes you surprised to see how much funny animators can get away. But I'm noticing animation is becoming more quicker and stuff, and it's something... I'm not, like, against it, but it's something that...
It's hard to swallow.
Yes, there's some people that... I know for our friend Brendan, when he watches anime and cartoons, he always fastens the speed up, which I guess makes sense. Now you can watch a series a bit quicker. But and even though I love my quick animations, I also love cartoons that don't have to feel like they need to rush themselves for gags or anything. And Coco, it just has the... And Book of Life has some fast pacing. It's not bad or anything, just it has more fast pacing in it.
Yeah.
And Coco does a lot more slow scenes, but it has such great heart. I love the characters in it. And it's so beautiful. Like, seeing the opening shot when when the kid crosses the...
Wait, the kid's not named Coco?
No. Again, I'll have to let you watch the movie.
That's confusing now.
Trust me, you'll understand. Just watch the movie. You say you're going to watch it next week or something.
Depending on when I beat Final Fantasy V, because I do plan on taking myself a week break from streaming, so...
Actually, how far are you in Final Fantasy V? Do you know?
I want to say I'm at least like 75% of the way, so maybe next weekish, or maybe the next. I don't know. We'll just see.
I'm not rushing. I was just curious.
I know.
Are you going for secret bosses too?
I haven't really decided. It depends on how much I end up liking Final Fantasy V, which I might, but I don't know how many secret bosses there are. I hadn't really looked into it yet.
Oh, I know you mentioned it once, but yeah, it's just I've been trying to catch up finding movies, and my movie taste has changed a bit. Then again, my whole style of what I watch and stuff has changed, and it's not because I think they're bad or anything. It's just I just don't care for them. Like, I've already gave away my South Park and Rick and Morty DVD sets to friends and Good Samaritans, which that's gotta be odd. Seeing the Good Samaritans and you see some nice religious stuff, and then you got South Park Season 10.
You do have a point. Our Good Samaritans, there's a lot of religious
Which isn't
videos.
bad. There's some good stuff, but yeah, it's like, I probably did not think this ahead. Then again, I didn't really feel like selling them. I just wanted to give it to someone a good home. Plus, hey, it'll be a fun find for people who like going to Good Samaritans. It's like, oh, hey, cool. You know?
Yeah, there might be some. There will be somebody who.
But it's like I like to try to find stuff that is fun, lighthearted, doesn't take itself seriously, has that makes you feel good at the end and stuff.
When it comes to movies, I like movies that likes to go into an adventure, exploring and stuff like that.
Adventure.
Sort of like how I love Pirates of the Caribbean as well as the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films. You know? Record, I know that's the one thing that people hate out of the Lord of the Rings, but honestly, if you like, seriously, that's one of the reasons why people didn't like the Hobbit films, was that they took their time of just walking in the wilderness, running in the wilderness and stuff like that. And I was like, honestly, that's kind of like the break that you need from all the action pack and all of the detailed storytelling.
Plus, even though I've read the Hobbit book, and I will admit the movie does extend way too much compared to the book, which is very small compared to the rest of the Lord of the Rings book.
But when you look at the atmosphere of where they're located at, it looks so flippin' gorgeous.
Plus, fans love detail. Mm-hmm. I know we talked about this with Cody. I remember talking about Dragon Ball Z, of like think about watching the Dragon Ball Z Kaisei, since it cuts the filler stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Cody loves the filler episodes as he gets more engaged with the characters and stuff.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, I know there's some people that when it comes to series they may have too much filler, and that's fine. But for like die-hard fans, it's like getting to know the characters a bit more. You're spending more time with them and understanding more smaller details that maybe casual people may not find, but people who love the worlds and the detail within these fictional worlds just eat that up. So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Some filler works, some filler don't. It just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're trying to catch up with movies. I haven't decided what movie I'll watch next. I'll probably say Doctor Strange because I know you'll want to watch that.
Yeah, that's something I need to watch along with a bunch of other stuff.
There's probably some other... I also need to watch some of the other Pixar films, but I forgot which ones I haven't watched. But I know with DreamWorks, I haven't really found interest in watching the other DreamWorks movies.
Yeah, they kind of fallen out after Shrek 4.
Yeah, which I mean, it's a shame. I know we used to be able to go and see every DreamWorks and Pixar movie, but ever since Shrek Forever After and
No, it wasn't Shrek Forever After that was the last one. It was Kung Fu Panda 3.
Oh yeah, that's right. Kung Fu Panda 3 was good, but
yeah,
they make so many films just like pick and choose. Well, actually, speaking of movies, this actually translates to one of the topics I want to talk about.
Okay.
And this one, I kind of laid a hint as to what it might be. So, in 2008, a Jim Henson project was being made for an adult puppet movie under the title of Happytimes Murders. It's being released under the Henson Alternatives name, that way to not get confused, kind of like how with Disney, when they release a more adult-oriented film, they go by Touchstone Pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like that. And I know about this project for a while with some concept art going on, and it's a project that's been in works for years and years. And again, Brian Henson, he likes to try to do some adult stuff. Like he does the Puppet Up Uncensored, which is an improv puppet show, which I seen one and it's hilarious. Then again, I love improv, like Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Right.
But they dropped the trailer for Happytime Murders a couple weeks. They had it released the same time as Deadpool 2 in theaters. And from what I saw with the trailer, you know how I mentioned how I'm changed, like how I'm no longer interested in like Rick and Morty or South Park related humor?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. It's like, I don't hate the project, but I'm probably not going to see in theaters, maybe rental, but that's about it. But the premise is that in this world filled with puppets, kind of like a whole Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where cartoons interacting with people, and you see puppets walking around like you see full-bodied puppets, not like Sweetums or Big Bird, but like you see like puppet size, like maybe Swedish Chef or Bert and Ernie hand puppets, and you see like the legs walking around, and that part I actually really love, seeing the puppets and seeing them integrate with like a blue screen, kind of like seeing them walking around, showing the technological advances of trying to perform puppetry with modern technology, and it looks beautiful. And I also love the fact that for fans of Jim Henson and stuff, seeing the puppets, like they reuse a lot of characters from the Puppet Up Uncensored. Okay. Like some of it is from the past Jim Henson projects, like some of it's like from the Jim Henson era, or some of the other like Animal City stuff like that. So
that's cool.
So when you see Puppet Up, you can see them reusing puppets from older Jim Henson projects, and seeing them reusing them in this movie is kind of cool. And I like the idea of going. The story, all it is that there's someone killing these puppets, and you see like stuff fluff out of them and all that. Luckily, you don't see a hand going, "Oh no, that would be too dramatic." No. But and so this cop who's kind of like, one of those cops that doesn't get along with the others, isn't really reliable stuff, has to team up with his ex-partner in order to solve this crime. So I like the idea of going a more mature puppet film, and I love it to see another one where we see puppetry go to this length. Again, it's something we don't see that often in cinemas.
But you told me there was a reason why you wasn't going to see it to begin with.
Right.
And when you told me it, I was like, even that's a little far.
Well, it's the humor. And I know it's a trailer, and with the trailer, they have to choose the best bits to intrigue the people. And sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes trailers can really grab you, and others it make you extremely skeptical.
And uncomfortable.
Yeah, and the premise is great, and I love the effects they're using and everything, and it sounds like a good idea. My issue is I'm worried about the writing. And I'm not saying they can't do adult jokes or stuff like that. I'm not saying that. It just doesn't intrigue me. Like the immature humor, like seeing puppet characters going, by the way, this will be some very disgusting stuff here, so please forgive me. It's like this one abandoned kind of puppet girl's like, hey, I'll suck your dick for $20. It's like, that's not really funny. I mean, to some people, seeing a puppet character, simple puppet that maybe for like a children's show, saying that might humor them, but doesn't to me. And it's just that kind of adult humor, it's not like super smart to me, and it doesn't really make the characters any mature, it just makes them more immature in a way.
Yeah.
And there was one scene in there, I'm not even gonna mention it, but if you watch the trailer, you know the scene is at the very end. It was disgusting. Like, I got the joke, with the whole silly string, but that was too much for me. That's like,
yeah,
no.
I felt like I understand the whole murder aspects and stuff like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when you do stuff like that, you might as well just immigrate to Comedy Central Presents. Remember that one?
Oh, with the phone call.
Yeah.
What was the name of that show?
Crank Up or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
I watched the first episode of that, and I was like, nope, I'm done.
It's like, I'm not saying anyone who doesn't like that or anyone who likes it is bad. No, I mean, everyone has their own taste in humor. But for me, it's like I'm getting sick of the adult humor. It's like, there are smart comedies out there.
Oh yeah, there's plenty.
But I like the characters not being complete a-holes and not making dick and fart jokes it's just not intriguing to me. It just doesn't really interest me anymore. Now, there may be some fun dialogue and stuff in the film, but if the whole movie's gonna have a lot of jokes that centered around that type of humor, I just don't think it's made for me. I will see it eventually, but not in theaters.
Right.
Although there was one thing that got some controversy with the movie a while back.
What's that?
Okay, well, you know how the trailer and some of the posters have been having the tagline saying, "No Sesame All Street," referencing Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Well, the Sesame Workshop was kind of had a little say no on that, and I understand because I was a bit nervous when I saw that tagline. I was like, "Oh dear, people are gonna think that this might be good for kids." And I trust Brian Hansen. It may be the advertisers that did it, because Brian Hansen he usually does a good job of making sure to. In fact, in an interview, when people did an interview for Pop It Up, he wanted to say, "Oh, uncensored. Keep the uncensored bit. That way kids don't see it or anything." So
in other words, he's clever enough to know where to target the advertisements towards.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was for the advertisement per se. I'm not sure, but they are clear saying they could still use that and all that.
That's good.
Yeah, but at the same time,
is this going to turn out like PUBG argument?
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. It does make me kind of nervous if kids or if adults will take their kids to it. I mean,
I hope not, because it'd be like the Dark Knight series. It's like, it may be Batman, but it's not for kids.
Yeah, it's not. Well, I still remember that one time when we went to see, what movie was it? Dark Shadows. And I remember seeing this couple with this little tiny infant. It's like, okay.
This is probably not the film to bring.
I mean, Dark Shadows wasn't like bad in terms of like nightmare, but there was some stuff that might give a kid, especially an infant, some nightmares per se.
Let's put it this way: Tim Burton isn't childlike wonder. It can be, but it's not encouraged.
Yeah. Well, maybe with Big Fish, but I haven't really. Oh, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Really? Pee-wee's Big Adventure with that one scene?
Okay, never mind. Actually, that scene.
I'm just saying, Tim Burton has his wild side, and those wild sides hit.
Yeah, that truck driver scene. I can live without seeing that face ever again. I can just.
It's one of those things where it's like, if you could take that one little bit, it's not a bad thing. But then after that, it's like.
Yeah. But yeah, Happytime Murders. I'll see it eventually, but I don't think it'll be anything that great. Although I do give them credit, because this has been a project that's been in work since 2008, and I'm glad to see them doing that's coming out. And I hope it does well, because who knows, they might give them more chances to make some more puppet films, some different ones, and all that. So yeah. Anyway, move on to what you want to talk about.
Well, I figure we go ahead and kind of throw this discussion, because technically we were asked about this, but since it just got announced as of like what, yesterday at this point, or a couple of days ago?
2 days by the time we're recording this?
Yeah, 2 or 3 days.
It's Friday for us.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the point is that we were asked about what we were thinking about the Pokemon rumors. And, well, there's been an announcement. So, first off, let's talk about the first one that got announced, which is Pokemon Quest.
That one I don't know much about.
Basically, the way I looked at it whenever I saw the trailer, it's basically Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, except in block form, from the way I looked at it. And it's technically a free download on the Switch, so...
It's already surpassed, at the time of recording this, it's already surpassed 1 million downloads, which is insane. Then again, it's a free download. I'm not sure there's like any microtransactions or anything.
If there's any microtransaction, I'm gonna barf.
I'm not sure. I mean, it's a free download,
so it makes sense. But even still, I would barf.
Yeah, but it's always surpassed that. But that's not really the one we're talking about, because I don't really have interest. The one we're talking about is the one that I'm somewhat intrigued, but
same here. But I do have a small nitpick. I say nitpick because compared to the rest of the game, it's not a big issue. And I thought about it more and more, and I was like, if they could integrate it in a way that I'm thinking it would work, then yes, this would work fine. But if it's like what I think it is, then it's going to hurt the game. And that is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Now, from what we know from the trailer, this is more or less of a reimagining of Pokemon Red and Blue, supposedly.
Which will make it the third time they remade.
But then again, people aren't classifying this as a remake. This is a reimagining, a reboot of some form.
I say reimagining more.
I think that's what we should call it technically. Now, from what we know in terms of like what all it is and what it does, basically, first and foremost, depending on which of the two you pick, you basically start off with either Pikachu or Eevee, which I actually kind of like it.
Kind of like with Pokemon Yellow, where you have Pikachu and he follows you around and everything.
But I do like the idea that Eevee's now a starter Pokemon because of how Eevee is.
Eevee's one of the most popular Pokemon next to Pikachu.
Well, not only that, but also too because of all the different evolutions Eevee has. So it makes sense for Eevee to be your starter core Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I kind of like that feature because Eevee's my favorite Pokemon, as per obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense for Pikachu to be a starter Pokemon, per obvious. Another thing is that the art style, I like the art style. A lot of people seem to be mixed about it.
I think it looks fine. It's definitely what I thought. I mean, we're not expecting Pokemon to be super detailed. It's like, that's not the art style.
That's not Pokemon. Pokemon, this is how I picture, like you said, how we picture Pokemon to look in terms of the next gen.
And it looks beautiful.
And compared
all
to
the Pokemon look great on the Switch.
Plus, compared to that of Pokemon Sun and Moon, it's not like the face is painted on the character model. So, in all honesty, it's better than what it technically is on the 3DS.
Although the footage isn't really finalized, but I think it looks probably kind of close to what we're expecting it to look.
Yeah. And then, of course, in this one as well, no more random encounters. You actually get to see the Pokemon that's out on the field. And the cool thing is that if you're wanting that particular Pokemon, you can just run towards it. If not, you can always avoid it because you can see it.
I love that because
honestly, that's a welcome change.
Random battles is annoying. It really is. Yeah. And one thing I also noticed, your starter Pokemon will not evolve. So, yeah.
What do you mean by it won't evolve?
Well, like I saw something like the starter Pokemon, like for Pikachu and Eevee, won't evolve. They'll stay.
Well, technically, they can only evolve with a Thunderstone, or in Eevee's case, depending on what stone you choose.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just going off of article I read on Nintendo.
I don't think they would prevent a Pokemon from evolving, because that would just seem kind of weird for that not to be the case. But the biggest thing that got my nerve itching, and by itching I mean that, is that you're not battling the random Pokemon. The wild Pokemon, rather. You're not battling them. See, the reason why this is called Pokemon Let's Go is because technically this is more of a less of a lines of a side project from Pokemon Go. And the funny thing is, you can technically take the Pokemon that's on Pokemon Go and transfer it to Pokemon Let's Go.
And vice versa.
Not vice versa.
Oh, okay.
From what they're saying, you can't do it vice versa. As far as I know. I may be wrong, but that's what people are saying, technically. But I find it weird that we're no longer fighting wild Pokemon, but instead throwing Pokeballs at them. I have major problems with this. Number one, you technically buy Pokeballs. And Pokeballs are not 100% guarantee captures, particularly regular Pokeballs. What happened to the days when you tried to weaken a Pokemon and capture it? What is wrong with that? And the funny thing is, you're still battling Pokemon from other trainers. So it's not like it's a PSA problem deal. It's... What? Why?
Take it one thing at a time.
Why can we not fight the wild Pokemon? Because essentially, technically, what they said is that Pokemon will still earn experience from via capturing Pokemon and battling them from other trainers. That's what people are saying on articles and stuff.
Wait, how does a Pokemon gain experience by throwing a Pokeball?
Much like Pokemon Go, technically the Pokemon that you capture already, if you've already got it, you can just exchange it for candy. And you give that candy to said Pokemon that you've already previously captured, and it will level up by 1. If it does the same thing in Pokemon Let's Go, I don't like it. Because essentially you're taking a mechanic that was hated, not so much hated because technically it was a mobile app. You're taking a mechanic that was on a mobile app and are putting it in a home console to which should not have been messed with. I mean, I like the idea of throwing the Pokeball with the Joy-Con and everything.
Heck, the Joy-Con Pokeball, that does look cute, it does.
But why can't we fight the Pokemon? Why can't we? As far as I know, in menu-wise, it does not show battle. It shows like item, it shows Pokeball, it shows help. It does not show battle. In fact, as far as I know, you don't even see the Pokemon HP. So, how do you capture a Pokemon and guarantee to capture without spending your Pokedollars just to buy Pokeballs? Now, there is one other thing that I do want to go ahead and mention. It didn't show how frequently you can fight trainers. So, unless they integrated to where there's like a tournament type league, To which,
or maybe there's a lot of trainers around.
Yeah, unless there's more NPCs, or if there's like a tournament battle, then it would make sense for why you're able to train your Pokemon in that faction. Because then it would make sense that way. If they do it in that faction, then I'm okay. I'm willing to leave that as it is. However, if that's not the case, I'm going to be very twitchy about this.
Baby steps.
But
Baby steps.
there was wording that stated, I don't know if this was from Nintendo or from Pokemon Company themselves, but they said that after this one, there is another Pokemon core game coming out for 2019.
I think this is like mid of that year, I believe.
Yeah, so technically this isn't a core game. But
this one is more or less, because this is something, I wasn't really upset about it. I thought it was like, okay, yes, harmless, but not really interested. But this is something I took away from Arlo. And, by the way, he's great, Muppet guy, recommend. But anyway, he mentioned how this is more or less for the casual people who play Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
There's no denying that, while it may not be as popular as it was when it first launched, there's still people playing it. It's always has the Hoenn region Pokemon in it. So this would be a perfect way to introduce people to a new system, and be familiar, but also introduced to the battle mechanics and a little bit to how abnormal Pokemon's played, more or less for the casuals. Heck, even people who haven't touched Pokemon in years can go back and get in the groove of a few things. Get them prepared for the next installment, which...
And if that's the case, then I think I can be a little bit okay-ish about it. But like I said, it's just that one little thing, which is a nitpick, I guess, if you look at it in that perspective. Yeah,
well, I picture this way. Not every game was made for everybody.
Right.
And I think that also comes to the installments. There's Super Mario games that's not made for me, but are made for other people. And there are some games from
Kingdom Hearts that isn't made for everybody, particularly recoded.
Yeah, but so I picture this more like this. This isn't a Pokemon game that I could see a major fan getting because it has a deep, complex battle system or anything. This is for people who may not be familiar with Pokemon and want to get a smooth, friendly start. I know some people will say, just play the original games, but keep in mind not everyone has the original Game Boy, let alone will be aware that you could play them on a 3DS or anything. And I think this is a fun little way. Plus, I do like the two-player aspect.
That one I do like.
That one I actually did like.
That one's actually pretty cool. I do like that.
Plus, we've gone to the Pokeball thing. Granted, I don't know if this would mean the second play will also have to buy more, or you have to buy extra balls.
Yeah, I'm confused on that one.
But if two players can throw a Pokeball from each, will give you a greater chance of capturing it. I'm not sure. It's got me... Granted, I've been out of touch of Pokemon for a while, and I know I mentioned years ago I was going to play Sun and Moon. I've lost interest already.
Same here, which is a shame, because it was interesting
Even
to me
though Papaloo is like the most adorable Pokemon ever.
I was interested with some of the starters, even with their secondary form, but then the third form, I lost interest.
I just want to keep my Papaloo in his
especially with the fire starter. I was so interested. I actually thought it was going to be like a tiger or a lion. No, it turned out to be a giant Macho Libre. I'm like, you lost my interest.
Macho Libre? Pikachu Libre!
I'm serious. This guy just looks like a giant, buff-up, macho, fire-type cat-like person. It's like, what the fuck, guys? You had me interested. You had me going.
And then you put a bunch of illegal drugs that you probably got out of a Hypno and a Drowsy, and yeah.
And then Pablo just turned into a female automatically, regardless if it's male or female, which is confusing.
We're not even gonna touch that. Now,
the grass type one, it looked really good. I actually liked that one.
I'm just gonna keep Papaloo in this Papaloo form.
Yeah, just avoid the questions. Keep him in his first dairy form.
Yeah.
I think
he's the mascot. He's there acting all cute and funny and all that. He's not gonna fight. He's just gonna be a cheerleader. And Actually, no, scratch it. You have to jump around and stuff, and this got really awkward really quick.
But aside from that, I do want to go ahead and talk about what I would want from a Pokemon game. Because, quite frankly, this needs to be stated as well. We've known Pokemon for years to have the standard formula. And that standard formula is have your three starter types, being that of fire, grass, and water. Go collect 8 gym badges, beat an evil league organization, and then go fight the Elite Four with the occasional legendary Pokemon. Now, occasionally it's alright to break away from that habit, being that of Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon DX. Both in which I've enjoyed the living hell out of. Those are my favorite entries into the Pokemon series. I highly recommend anyone, if you've got a GameCube or even a Wii for that matter, grab one of those 2 games. You'll know what I mean. They are just the perfect entry into the Pokemon series. You will not be disappointed. But I want another Pokemon game that is somewhat like that. Doesn't have to be in the same format of it, but just in a series of where it's not where, oh, hey, you've got a starter type Pokemon, you go and collect 8 badges and go for the Elite Four. No, I would like it if there was like a kid who has a pet Pokemon and saw an advertisement of a major corporation integrating a tournament league and thought, hey, I should entry my pet Pokemon into this tournament. But before he can go into that league, he has to go and fight other smaller tournaments and build himself up. And yes, integrate a secret organization that's trying to use his tournament in order to raise into power. Do something like that, Use an interesting, creative story.
You just want to see Pokemon, keep its core, but try to innovate.
Yes, make the story, do something different with the main core aspects.
Well, I'm noticing that Nintendo's trying to do a lot of that with the old franchises. You had Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey that kept the core but changed up a lot of stuff, and they both did really good. And I get the feeling with Metroid Prime 4 they're gonna do something similar to that. And with Pokemon, I think we've seen some new stuff that they're trying to incorporate, not majorly,
right,
but some within the Sun and Moon and X and Y, right. I think. So it just makes sense that with this core to go all out, try something different.
Exactly.
And that story concept of a kid with a pet Pokemon, that actually does sound pretty interesting.
I mean, honestly, you can't deny. I mean, seriously.
We all wanted a Pokemon as a pet, for crying out loud.
Seriously, why has that not been integrated yet? I mean, seriously.
Yes, and that will work.
Plus, I mean, just like you could in Pokemon Let's Go, dress up the Pokemon in little outfits. I do like that. I like that.
I knew you would.
I'm sorry. I like that part. Dressing your Pokemon in little outfits.
You're gonna dress up Eevee as a ninja, I betcha.
If it's possible in the game.
With a freaking gun!
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. But yeah, that's kind of like what I want to see. I want to see a core Pokemon game with a different story aspects, a different layout per se. Not just fight 8 gym leaders and go for the Elite Four. I want something different. I want something unique that Pokemon Coliseum and XD did to make me invested with the game.
Maybe also as well keep the random battles to like how it is in Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, where you can see the Pokemon.
Yeah, at least keep that. I like that.
That helps because if you're low on health items, your party's about to die, and if you don't want random battles, you can at least see the enemies to go, I'm just going to scurvy around, that way I don't get killed so I can heal.
Right.
I like that. I hate it when I am low on health and I only have one potion, and then all of a sudden, 6 giant soldiers ahead of you with poison bows and arrows and killer dogs. Heaven isn't too far away. Well, I mean, since Eevlee's coming close, Eevee is like weeks away.
Right. And people are already showing off their advertisements as we speak.
Yeah. I think what one might do for Eevee, I know for you, you're not really interested in like watching all the conferences, but I think for Eevee, I think it'd be fun if we did like a whole talk about each conference a bit. I know that would be extremely boring to you because then you don't give 2 flips for like EA, Ubisoft, Microsoft.
Here's the saying: if you're
soft.
Let's put it this way: if you just show the game trailer itself, I'm fine. But then you take your sweet ass time, investing a whole hour or 30 minutes talking about the game, talking about the directive and everything like that, doing a music audition type.
It's okay. I'll
thing.
download the conferences, and then we could just watch and skip all the way. So
yeah, it's just all I want to know is all the different games and if I'm going to be invested in that game or not.
Actually, that's something we should do. Like when the conferences come out, we could watch them, but when they're fully out, that we could just skip, that we could get to good bits.
That's probably a good idea. I like that better.
Yeah, and then we could talk about it. I'm still going to do my usual 10 games this year, which is going to be a little bit different. As now, when I do top 10 videos, I'm not going to go like, number 10, number 9, number... Oh, wait, I did it wrong. Hold on.
Oh! Number 10, number 9, number 8, number 7!
But, this year, and plus, I took a look at the last E3 videos I did, and while I did get half the games that I said that I was excited for, there were some games on there looking back, it's like, I'm not really interested in that game anymore. And
that does happen.
Yeah, and I don't think people suspect I'm gonna get every single game that I list on my E3 videos, because there'll be times when you look at a game and it comes out, you realize it doesn't interest me anymore, or it's just one of those games that you're intrigued by is ideal gameplay and style, but it's not something you will automatically get.
You may get it once it goes down in price, but that's about it.
Yeah, so this E3, I will probably do I'm still going to do my whole keeping 5 Nintendo games and 5 other games, just for a fair, just being fair.
Right.
Yeah, I am curious as to what E3 holds this year. Sony, I'm a little bit nervous because you've been telling me they're not really planning on showing a whole lot.
Not in their main conference. Now keep in mind, they're more or less focused on like what they think is going to be the biggest hype. Kingdom Hearts 3 is not one of them, surprisingly
Well,
enough.
Square Enix has
their own conference, so that helps.
Yeah, but I think this is mostly for the Sony Computer Entertainment side.
Yeah.
So, like the Last of Us Part 2, other games that I can't think of.
Death Stranding, even though that has yet to been released. And
What is that about?
I honestly couldn't tell you, because every single time they showcase it, it just proves more and more and more that Hideo freaking Kojima, actually we should rename Hideo fucked up Kojima, needs to stop smoking crack. He seriously needs to stop. Seriously, Daniel, if you'll animate this one for me or show me how to do it, I will make this video for you. I'm going to put the trailer right now and pause it at a certain point at a fucked up moment and have the guy come out and say, stop! Just stop! This is cancer! This is so much cancer! It's time to stop!
This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer. This is so much cancer that I can feel the tumors growing on my back.
It's like, stop showing me the trailer, stop showing me cutscenes, give me gameplay so I know what I'm dealing with. You're so fucked up, I don't even know what I'm watching anymore.
Easy, you got children. Actually, I think it might be too late for that, but... Actually, isn't Guillermo del Toro still helping with this?
If he is, I have no clue.
I know him and Kojima worked together on the Silent Hills prototype.
All I know is that Sony bought Kojima and asked Kojima to help.
So they bought a human being, and they got him trapped in the cell with all the drugs in all of Spain.
I say they bought him, but they paid him to be part of the Sony Incorporation team, to which Kojima has developed his own team called Kojima Studios. And apparently what they do is that they buy a truckload of heroin or cocaine or whatever drugs they can get their hands on, snort it all up, and they said, I got a real fucked up idea.
And then they called David Lynch in to assist.
And it's like, you ready for this one? Okay, picture this guy completely naked.
Stop!
With a baby, but it's inside of him.
I just said stop.
Well, that was the very first trailer. This newest trailer is so fucked up. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. I'm sorry. I get so triggered every single time people bring it up, and I'm like, what is it? Do you even know what it is? No? Then why even bring it up?
I'm not sure, but
I don't think it's going to get released until like 2020 or even 2025, because I think what they want to do is they want to mess with our minds more and more every single time they talk about it. I think that's all they want.
Gameplay doesn't. I get the feeling, even though it has some messed up imagery, I don't think the gameplay will be anything revolutionary. It'll probably be like maybe The Last of Us or God of War type gameplay where third person and all that.
Which would be very bland.
Yeah, so I don't think. So I think you'll more or less just rely heavily on imagery than in terms of gameplay.
Which is a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind good
just
pictures.
By judging by the trailers, again, there's no gameplay aspect unless it's a 2D side scroller.
That would be messed up. About as messed up as
I would have to give him credit. If it was a 2D side scroller, I would not be expecting it.
Yeah, way to go, Kojima. Way to mess up.
Oh wait, 2.5D side scroller, because it would be realistically side scrolled. If that was the case, I would like, congrats. That caught me off guard. I was thinking, Last of Us, Tomb Raider gameplay, but no, that's quite interesting.
But then there's also this one other game they're also talking about wanting to push that Sucker Punch is making, which I forgot the name, but I'll post it up right now. It's supposed to be like an open world samurai game, and I know you were thinking that you would think I would be hyped for it, but the only reason why I'm not is because I haven't seen gameplay footage.
You just seen like a cinematic trailer.
That's about it. And hopefully they'll show gameplay trailer of it. I hope so, because that would be nice. But as far as I know, I don't know what gameplay style is looking to be. I really don't. It's just, until I see gameplay footage, unless it really encapsulates me in terms of the concept, I only care about the gameplay because I want to know what is going to turn out.
I want to know. Can you show me? I want to know how to play this dang game. But yeah, E3, when it comes around, we'll definitely take a look at all the conferences. Don't worry, for Chris's sake, I'll skip through some. I like to try to look at all the conferences.
Same here, but
I like to see
they take their sweet time.
Well, to be fair, Sony and Nintendo did go through showing gameplay trailer after gameplay trailer. Microsoft did that a little bit last year, even though they focused a whole lot on
4K. That's all they talked about, 4K.
I feel so sorry for James. That was like the best thing we ever did.
That was literally single best thing we ever done. Best joke ever, hands down. And he still has that shirt, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He still has it.
Makes me so happy.
He loves that shirt. He loves that shirt too much.
And I just made that shirt in a span of 5 minutes too. The 4 minutes was for drying period.
Yeah, but still, it's just, oh gosh, that was the best.
Anyway,
moving right along.
Actually, how long have we been recording?
I think we could do at least one more, I think.
Alright.
So, if you don't mind, Dale, and this is more or less speaking of like future in developments, so Sony has been kind of like leaking information for the past couple of days.
Leaking or dropping?
I guess dropping, but they're not confirming anything, so I guess they're leaks at this point. Unless they 100% confirm, they're not necessarily drops, they're leaks. Or forced leaks at this rate. Point is, though, is that there's been talk about future in development software. Now, record from what people are saying, they're not going to reveal any software or hardware in development in terms of E3. But that could change considering how often these things are popping up.
Yeah, but I still think the PlayStation 5 will be released in 2020.
Yeah, they have confirmed that it will be 2020 before they even start talking about the next system. But there is one discussion that came up that had my interest but it has me worried, depending on how they go about it. And that is, they are considering doing a PlayStation Classic Edition.
Oh, really?
They're considering it. They're not working on it, but they are considering it. And the fact that Sony is considering doing it makes me happy, but also has me worried.
Well, I can definitely see the potential. I know people say, oh, they're just company Nintendo, but there's already been companies doing this whole classic, like Sega's doing a Genesis edition, Atari's done the flashbacks for years and years, so this is nothing new, and we shouldn't be surprised if companies want to do these flashbacks, classic editions.
There's
with
nothing
the
wrong with that. Honestly, I like it. I like the idea.
Yeah, and with the original PlayStation 1, there's a lot of great titles there that they already have that they could put in, and if they don't overcharge the classic edition, because the games themselves are much more bigger than like anything for like the Genesis or the NES, so if they don't overprice a PS1 classic, then I think it'll be golden. It really would.
Here's where I say I have a problem with it. Now, there are two situations. Number one is the size of the game. Now, record, you've got like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. They're not very big, lengthy games. But then you've got like Final Fantasy VII. You've got Legends of Dragoon. You've got Xenogears.
Which have games that are multi-disc.
And they require a lot more data space just to encompass that one game.
Granted, if you compare those games to games nowadays, they may not be as big, but still pretty gigantic games for the time.
And in fact, if you compare it to that of like any SNES games, they're a lot bigger.
No comparison.
You sure?
Too much. I don't know. I think Final Fantasy VII, you can spend way too much time in than Chrono Trigger. I'm not sure.
I don't think I'm not talking about time. I'm talking about data wise. You know,
with the whole 32 disc plus PS1 disc holds much more data than an SNES or N64 game. So
right. So it's one of those like depending on how they do it and depending on how many games they're going to put into it, that's what has my concern. Is that
you're not going to expect every single game.
No, but there are some people who are going to say, well, why wasn't this added on there? Or why wasn't this? Or this? Or this? There's so many titles that deem worthy of being put on a PlayStation 1 Classic Edition, and yet you have to be careful how much you put in. Like, obviously you're not going to put every Final Fantasy game that was on the PlayStation 1.
I can see them only putting Final Fantasy 7 on there. I really can.
It makes more sense.
And then maybe choose one Gran Turismo, maybe Medal of Honor.
Obviously Metal Gear Solid would probably be on there.
Rayman.
I expect Crash Bandicoot to be on there.
Sly Cooper, Medieval.
Sly Cooper.
I mean Spyro.
Spyro.
I was thinking of a raccoon for a moment.
It's okay. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I encourage the idea and I'm glad they're looking into it. But how many games are they thinking of putting into the system and what games?
Well, they don't want to put like so many games that will make the system overpriced. I can't see a PlayStation Classic being over $200. I really can't.
And I know a lot of people are going to hate me. In fact, I know you're going to hate me for this one. I understand. I accept full credit of being hated. But this is the only way I see it integrating for everyone. And I mean for everyone. It works every way you look at it. Make a system, make the hard drive, and make it big enough to store games, but you can download those retro games. So long as all of them are listed. Download the games you want on that system. This is the only way that it would work, and it would please everybody. That way you're not having to overcharge the system for games and stuff like that. You just pay for the hardware and the storage. Then you go on the store and download what games you want on the system.
If you go to the PlayStation Store or something?
No, make a different thing because it doesn't have every PlayStation game on that website. Make an entirely different website for PlayStation 1 games only, to where you can download those games. Now, record, yes, this is unfair for those who don't have internet connection, but this is the only way I see it working.
Although the problem is, people can easily take that site and say they're not going to put it in the PlayStation Classic, but just make like a duplicate system and make their own Classics thing that has all the games and sell it or something. That's the only issue that I might have, that someone can find a loophole within that route.
That may be the case.
I mean, I respect the idea, but you gotta think people can hack very easily, and if you give them the option to give them like a flash SD card thing for the system, and say you can download the games free from the site and everything, but they then take that SD card with those games, make their own custom PlayStation Classic, and then sell it on the market that has all those games.
I understand where you're getting at, and you are right, but if that's the case, then if needed to be, then have it set to where there's an account that you have to make, and that account is only set for like a Sony Direct account, like for example the PlayStation account and stuff like that. If that's the way you have to do it, then make it so, you know? Because that's the only way I could think of it, and that's the only fair way and fair assessment, because any other way, you may not be as successful as you think you are. Yes, PlayStation is a classic system to where it would work as a classic edition. But to be matched in terms of competitively for Nintendo, you're going to be biting more than you can chew, because one of the problems is you have a lot of sequels of that one game.
I can see, like, if I was Sony, I would probably have to choose, with so many games, I would probably only have to choose, take the very first one, like, put in the first Crash, put in the first Spyro, but don't include the others, and try to include other games from other franchises and so on. Yes, I know technically Crash 2 and 3 are better than Crash 1. I know there's some people who prefer Spyro 2 and 3 more than the first Spyro. But if you want to make sure you have at least one game from every franchise, that way you can have the one Final Fantasy, one Crash, and one driving game, one sports game, all that. It's one of those that's got to be really hard to choose. I can definitely see a PlayStation Classic, but they have to be very careful with how many titles they put in. If they put too many, they'll have to make the system too expensive. But don't put too much. The system will be consumer friendly, but everyone will be displeased due to a low stock of games built in.
And the only reason why I'm trying to give them advice of this is because I want to see them be successful to where they're encouraged to do a PS2 Classic Edition in the years later to come, because honestly that would be nice to see a PlayStation 2 Classic Edition.
If we do the PlayStation 2 Classic, we better get ready for a war. People gotta be saying, "You didn't include Kingdom Hearts 2 on there, you snubber-snappers, you are gonna beat the
You do have a point. You do have a point. The PS2 would be even harder because of how many good titles there are.
Over 1,000 games!
Is this without EA games, for that matter? EA Sports, rather?
Again, 1,000 games!
Okay, fair enough.
You gotta think, there was so many games on a PS2. Probably even more than the PS1, I think, isn't there?
I hadn't really checked, but I'm going to.
Yeah, please, put the list down. I'm curious, that would...
The number comparison, rather?
Yes, I would actually enjoy that, just for craps and giggles.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be hard to see how that turns out, because we don't even know what could happen. But like I said, the fact that Sony is considering it gives me hope, but at the same time, it scares me knowing how they're going to do it.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Literally. Have to wait and see.
Yeah, but I believe that's all the time we really have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. This was actually a fun recording session.
It has been for the last couple times. It's been really enjoying it.
But if you want to suggest topics or ask any questions, you can do it two ways. You can either put your question down in the comment section below, or send it to my personal email address, danielmullinsfleet@gmail.com. You can ask questions about it, also send back feedback to how we can improve our videos, and anything you want to add, BlackCross? Maybe some advertisement for your Twitch and YouTube channel, or?
Yes, please do. Subscribe to my channel or follow me on Twitch. Do any of the following. I am desperate for attention.
Everyone who goes to his Twitch account and follows gets a free mushroom thing.
Don't do that, because then that's a lot of mushrooms you'll have to carry in.
But I like mushrooms. I can actually cook really good mushrooms. I actually can. Not these, but like the slice of mushrooms, the produce. I can cook them, and they're so good. You okay?
I'm fine.
Oh, okay. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this podcast, and we will see y'all in the next one.